Hola clase, bienvenidos a nuestro primero video en español. Hello class and welcome to our first Spanish video. Today we're going to talk about el alfabeto. Now you're probably thinking, Senorita Franks, I learned the alphabet in kindergarten. What could you possibly tell me about the alphabet that I don't already know? Well, I'm going to tell you that the alphabet in Spanish is a little bit different, but it's different in an easier way. There are a couple things we have to know first before we can learn the letter sounds. We've got 4 letters that we don't have in English. So we've got to memorize these sounds because these are not in our English alphabet. We've got J, makes the same sound as CH does in English. Then we've got ella. 2 L's put together make a Y sound in Spanish. So if you ever see 2 L's together, like in the word, this is the word for chicken. That's not polo, that's pollo. It's a Y sound. So these 2 right here make a Y. So like the word llama. It's not llama, it's llama. Then we have ñ. Like in my name, Senorita Franks. It's not Senorita, it's Senorita. Ñ. You have the N and then you have the Y sound right after it. So if you see an N with this little squiggle over it, you know, like in Senorita, you have the N sound and then you add the Y sound after that N. And then right here, this is R. And it has the little roll in it. You can practice doing that. If you can't make that sound, it's okay. Some English speakers have a really hard time making that sound. Some Spanish speakers have a hard time making that sound. That's just rolling your R. If you can't roll your R, you can just make a really hard R sound. There's actually 2 words in Spanish that are exactly the same, except for one has 1 R and one has 2 R's. This one, pero, means but, not as in hiney but as in but also. And then this one is perro. Perro is a dog. My dog is sitting right here at my feet. This one has the rolling R, the rrr sound in it. All right. Another thing we need to know about the Spanish alphabet is that the vowels only each have 1 sound. So in English, our vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. These are the same vowels that we have in Spanish, but in English, this can be a, This has so many different sounds. We have over 30 vowel sounds in English with just these 5 vowels. That's insanity. In Spanish, they make it easy for you. There's only 5 vowel sounds because there's only 5 vowels. You do not have to memorize multiple sounds. So, if you follow the way that I'm teaching you how to pronounce these letters, you will never have a problem pronouncing a word in Spanish because you'll always know what sounds the letters make. Unlike English, where we can pronounce things wrong, in Spanish, it's a lot easier. The A, we have A. It always makes A. This one's a little bit trickier. The E in Spanish is E. So we have A, E. This is always E. The I is E. It's always E. So it gets a little confusing when you're naming things and I'm speaking in Spanish and you're trying to speak in English. Let's always use the letter sounds in Spanish. We've got A, E, I. They're always A, E, I. Then we've got this one. This one's really easy. O. A, E, I, O. And then U. A, E, I, O, U. So let's go back to our word pero. E. We have the P sound, then we have E, so we've got per, and then O. Perro. Very, very easy. So, I'm going to put up the Spanish alphabet for you to be able to see it and then I'm going to make the letter sounds for you. And I want you to follow along with the Spanish alphabet that's on your screen so that you can see what letters make what sounds. And then I'm going to post the video for the Spanish letter song. So we're going to do the alphabet song together. We're going to practice this alphabet song together in class. We really, really, really want to make sure that we know every sound for these letters. The sounds are more important than the names. I don't care if you know the names as much as I care if you know the sounds, because each letter in Spanish only has one sound, and if you can make that sound, you can pronounce anything. That way, when you ask me how to say something, let's say you ask me how to say a can, and I say lata. You don't have to ask me how to spell lata. You know it's L-A-T-A. L-A-T-A. All right, so I'm going to put that up for you. If you have any questions, if you're in 8th grade, come and see me during advisory. If you're in the high school, I'm available 3rd period. I can see you after school. I can see you maybe the end of 2nd period. Come see me if you have any questions. All right, class, so as promised, here is your picture of the Spanish alphabet. Let's look at the letters that we already know. When you see a letter on here, you're going to see the big letter, and then right above it's going to be a little pronunciation guide, so the letter kind of spelled out. These spellings are spelled out in Spanish, so keep that in mind when you're looking at these. And then we've got the picture, and then the word underneath of it that describes what the picture is of, that actually uses that letter so you know how it sounds. So let's look at what we know. We know A, we know she, we know E, we know I, and ella, ñ, o, r, y u. So we know all those letters already. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through. I'm going to say the letter name in Spanish, and then I'm going to pronounce the word that's underneath of it so that you can hear that letter used and how it sounds in Spanish. So first, A, el avión. B, el bote. C, la cama. Se can actually have two different sounds. Here it's la cama, as in a K sound. In a word like to close, cerrar. Cerrar starts with a C, but it starts with the S sound. So just like in English, C has the K sound and the S sound. Then we've got she, el chivo. D, el dado. E, el elefante. F, la flor. G, el gato. So this one's a little bit tricky. The pronunciation of the letter does not follow the sound that the letter makes. So it's G, like it sounds like an H, but it doesn't. It's a hard G. El gato. Then we've got H. H is kind of a placeholder letter. It used to be pronounced, but we don't say this letter anymore. It started out as an H sound, and then it became a soft H, and it just got softer and softer and softer until we stopped saying it altogether. So now, H is just there because it's still in the spellings, but it's not used anymore. So we've got H, el helado. So I didn't say helado, I said el helado. I started the pronunciation of the word with the letter E, because that's where the word actually begins when you say it. El helado. Next we have I, el indio. J, notice J, this one actually does take the pronunciation, or take the sound of the pronunciation of the letter is J, la jarra. It's not la jarra, it's la jarra. K, el koala. L, el león. Ella, la llave. M, el mango. N, la nube. Ñ, this one's fun, el ñando. El ñando. O, el oso. P, el perro. Q, el queso. R, la radio. R, el carro. S, la silla. T, el toro. U, las uvas. B, la vaca. Notice on this one, I did not say ve la vaca. This letter is also, just like B, it's be, la vaca. So how we tell the difference in Spanish, if you're talking to somebody and they want to know how you spell something, if you use a B sound, you can either call this ube to get rid of some of the confusion, or sometimes they say be de vaca, so V as in vaca, or be de burro, as in B as in burro, because the word for donkey is burro, and it starts with a B. Then we've got doble B. Doble B can also be called ube doble. I like doble B better. I never understood in English why we called it double U. It looks like two V's stuck together to me, so I like doble B. And it's pronounced el Walkman. Then we have aquis. Aquis, if it stands alone, like an X-ray, is pronounced just like it would be in English. El rayo X. You just say the letter's name. In a word like this, it's el xylofono. Then we've got Y. Y is el yo-yo. So it makes the y sound just like in English. Then we've got zeta, el zapato. So zeta is not zeta. It's not zeta el zapato. It's zeta. Zeta makes an S sound. So we've got three letters that make an S sound. C, S, y zeta. We've got two letters that make the Y sound. Ella y Y. We've got two letters that make the B sound. B de vaca y B de burro. And then we've got two letters that make a similar R sound. We've got R, which is without the roll, and then we've got R that has the roll. If you can't do the tongue roll, just make a really harsh R. So instead of saying el carro, you would say el carro. So I need to hear that R sound because there is a word in Spanish that just has one R and it has a completely different meaning. So I need to be able to tell them apart. If you have any questions, we're going to work on this together in class, pronouncing these together. We will do a lot of spelling with them. You can look up, there is a YouTube channel called Howcast. So go on YouTube, look up Howcast, and look up the pronunciation guides if you are confused. You can look up SpanishDictionary.com, and Spanish Dictionary has plenty of pronunciation guides for tons of words. Come and see me, and I will see you tomorrow.